Hello everybody, my name is Lotzi and today we're gonna be reading a creepypasta and let me explain. So I'm not home right now. I'm actually at my grandmother and I didn't bring my webcam there, so and also don't I'm not really I don't know what to do, what game to play, or I don't know. It's complicated, but yeah, I'm gonna be doing this with a quick video instead, and yeah, let's get into the video. Okay, now let's get into the pasta. I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played a glitchy or hacked games before, though I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. I liked how you could explore towns in it. To the towns, yeah. Oh fuck, I cannot read. Actually, yes I can. Until I noticed, out of my peripheral vision, that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox as usual and left. I paused my game to see what I got in the mail. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for the computers and a note. I took it inside. I looked at the note first and realized it was from my dear friend Kyle, let's just call him that, whom I hadn't heard in 2 weeks. I know that because I recognized his handwriting, though what was weird how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy and somewhat difficult to read, as if Cal was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. This is what he wrote. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late, and I was hoping you to do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me, and if you don't destroy this CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. As if this motherfucker couldn't destroy the tape himself. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc and you'll destroy him, but do it quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please, Kyle. Well, that was certainly weird. Even though Kyle is my best friend, and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. I didn't think that a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him. After all, it's just a game, right? Boy, I was wrong about that. Oh boy, here we go. Anyway, I looked at the disc and it looks like any ordinary computer CD-R disc, except it had a black marker on it written Sonic.Exe. And it was pretty much unlike Kel's handwriting, meaning he must have gotten it from someone else, like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the handwriting of the CD, I was actually excited and wanted to play it, since I'm a big Sonic fan. I went up to my room and turned on my computer, and put the disc and installed the game. When when the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was the first Sonic game, and I was like, awesome! Because like I said earlier, I like the classics. The first thing I noticed that was out of place when I pressed start, there was a split second, like I saw in the title image, that turned into something much different. Something that I now consider horrifying before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like that split second before the game cut to black. The sky had darkened. The title emblem was rusted and ruined. The Sega 1991 now instead Sega 666. Oh boy, they're fucking cliches. Anyway, and when the weather, when the water turned red like blood. But the freakiest thing that was in that split-second frame, Sonic, Nick was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding, with two glowing red dots staring right at me. And this and his smile had stretched wider up the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about that image when I saw it, though I figured it out it was just a glitch and forgot about it. It got after it got to black, it stayed like that for about 10 seconds or so. And then another weird thing that happened, the save files fuck. Bro, what the fuck is this? Oh god. Save file select from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up. And I was like, what the fuck? What's this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something off. The background was very dark. What? Excuse me. The background was very dark, cloudy sky. The bats started. Oh my. CD. And there was only 3 save files. The music was that creepy caverns of winter music from Earthbound. Only it was extended. It seems like it has been in reverse. And the image for the save file, where you can see a preview of the level, is just red static for all 3 files. What freaked me out more was that the character select, it only showed Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now, I was sure that something was up. I mean, how can you play Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? That's when I realized that it wasn't a glitchy game, it was a hacked game. Oh, very scary. Yeah, it definitely looked hacked. It was really creepy. But as a smart gamer, I wasn't scared, or at least I tried not to be. I told myself that it was just a hacked game, and there was nothing wrong with that. Anyways, shaking off the creeped out feeling, I picked file 1 and chose Tails. When I selected, when I selected and got stuck. Bro, what the fuck is this grammar? Anyway, the game froze for about 5 seconds and I heard a creepy pixelated laugh that sounded awful a lot like the Kefka guy from the Final Fantasy before going to black. The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more, then it showed the typical level title thing, except the simplistic simplistic shapes were different shapes of red, and the text showed only Hill Act 1. The screen faded in, and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. The music was different though. It sounded like a peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing, and Tails had what? Anyways, I started playing, and had Tails start running like you would in any of the classic Sonic games. What odd? what was what? What was odd that as Tails was running along the level, and there was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for 5 minutes. And that was when the peaceful music started to lower down into slow, deep tones. Very slowly as I kept going. I suddenly saw something, and I stopped to see what it was. Oh my fucking god. It was one of the small animals lying dead on the ground bleeding. That was when the music started to slow down. Tails had a shocked and saddened look on his face that I never saw him have before. So I had him to move along and kept that worried look on his face. As he kept moving, I saw more dead animals as Tails moved past them, looking and more worried as the music lowers and he moves past more dead animals. I was shocked to see how they all died. They looked like somebody killed them in rather gruesome ways. A squirrel was hanged. Hanged? Whatever. I'm not gonna ask anything. Was hanged on a tree with what appeared to be his initials hanging out. Bunny had all four of his limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out, and his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre, and apparently so did Tails. Wow, no shit, Sherlock. Anyway, after a few more seconds, there were no more animals, and the music seemed to have stopped. I still kept Tails to continue. After a minute passed, after the music stopped, Tails was running up to on a hill, and then he stopped. It wasn't until I saw why. Sonic was there on the other side of the screen, with his back against Tails, with his eyes closed. Tails looked happy to see Sonic, but then his smile faltered, obviously noticing that Sonic wasn't responding to him, if not acting as if he was totally obvious of Tails' presence. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic, and I noticed that I wasn't even moving my keyboard to make him move. So this had to have been a cutscene. Suddenly, I began to have a growing feel of dread as Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention. I felt that Tails was in danger and something bad was going to happen. Oh God, my throat! Why do I keep coughing, bro? I heard that faint static grunting louder as Tails was but inches away from Sonic and stopped and stuck his hand to touch him. Ayo? Pause? Okay, joking. Jokes aside. That forbidding feeling in my gut was growing stronger, and I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from Sonic, but as the static grew louder. Suddenly I began to... Oh wait, no. Suddenly, a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open, and they were black. They were black, as with those red glowing dots, just like that title image. Thought there wasn't a smile. When that happened, the screen turned black, and the static sound was off. It stayed black for about 7 seconds, and then white text appeared, forming a message saying, "Hello, do you want to play with me?" At this point, I was creeped out. I didn't want to continue with the game, but my curiosity got the better of me when I was taken to a different level, with the level title now saying "Hide and Seek." This time I was in Angel Island from Sonic 3, and it looked like everything was on fire. Oh god. Ah, fuck, I keep yawning. Oh god, I'm tired as hell. Tails looked as though he was scared of wits this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures to me as if he wanted to get out of the area he was in as fast as possible. I was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was actually breaking the fourth wall by trying to tell me to get him out of there. So I pressed down on the arrow key as hard as I could and made him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme when you meet Shadow at the ARK Robotnik from Sonic Adventure 2 was playing while Tails trek through the desolate forest, trying to help him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. Suddenly I heard that creepy laugh again, that awful Kefka laugh. Right after 10 seconds have passed as I helped Tails run through the forest. Then I started seeing flashes of Sonic popping everywhere on the screen. Again with those black and red eyes. The music changed to from a suspenseful drowning jingle as I see Sonic behind Tails slowly gaining upon him flying. Sonic wasn't running, he was actually flying. The flying pose in his sprite was making him look was making looked very similar to Metal Sonic's flying pose in Sonic CD, except it was Sonic and he had black eyes and red. Oh my fucking god, we get it! Only this time, he had the most deranged looking grin on his face. As he looked through, he was enjoying the torment that he was giving the poor little fox as he gained upon him. Suddenly, when Tails tripped, another cutscene, and the music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails laid there and started crying for 15 seconds. The scene was rather upsetting to watch and I kind of teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared in front of Tails and looked up in horror. The blood started to come down those blackened eyes and Sonic's grins slowly grew from his face and he looked down at the horrified fox. I could do nothing but watch. Just in a split second, Sonic lunged at Tails right before the screen went black. There was a loud screeching. A noise that lasted up only 5 seconds. The screen returned. Only this time you said, "You're too slow. Wanna try again?" And then that god-awful laugh came with it. I was so shocked by what happened. Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails are supposed to be best friends, right? Why did Sonic do that to him? I shook the shock off as I was brought back to the character select. The save file at Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but the TV screen itself, which was flickering with that red static. Excuse me. Those expressions scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding. His orange fur had gone black. He had an expression of anguish on his, his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next. The laugh came again, and the screen got to black again, and stayed there for about 10 seconds. This time the level said, "You can't run." I was really freaked out by now. I couldn't tell if this was a glitch or a hack or some kind of sick, twisted joke. Or anything really. But despite my fear of what happened next, I kept playing. The next level looked much different. It had the ground of Scrap Brain Zone, but the sky background looked like the main menu. It had dark reddish cloudy sky, but the music that creeped me out the most. It sounded like Gygas' theme right after he beat Pokey in Earthbound. I also noticed that Knuckles looked afraid, just like Tails did, though not as much. More rather, he looked a little unnerved. He broke the fourth wall just like Tails, and looked like if he wasn't sure what was going on. But I made him move anyway. He ran down the straight pathway in this dark level. As he did, the screen started to flicker a red static a couple times, and then the maddening laugh came again. Then after a few seconds of running, I noticed several bloodstains on the metallic ground. I felt a growing sense of fear again, thinking something horrible is going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nauseated walking down this blood-stained road, but I still kept him going. As a classic Tom moment, just being honest here. Suddenly, as Knuckles ran, Sonic appeared right in front of him, whose black and red eyes, and then red static appeared again. When the static vanished, showing nothing but black screen and with text saying, "Found you." I was now scared. Sonic and Knuckles already? What was going on? Anyway, red static came again, and then I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And this time, that high-pitched squealing from Silent Hill 1's final boss was playing. Was this some kind of boss battle of Sonic? I hope to God it wasn't, honestly. Suddenly, Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles in what appeared to be a pixelated black smoke. I made Knuckles turn and then punch Sonic, but Sonic vanished in a black pixelated smoke before I could even land a hit. That terrible laugh went off again. Then Sonic appeared behind Knuckles again, and then I made him punch again, and Sonic vanished again, laughing. Knuckles was panicking even more, and it even felt like I was going crazy. Sonic was practically playing it with with us. He was playing a sick, twisted little mind game with me and Knuckles. Another cutscene played as Knuckles fell on his knees and clutched to his head, sobbing. I felt his agony. Sonic was actually driving us both crazy. And then in a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles, and the screen went black with another distorted screeching noise that lasted for about 3 seconds. Another text message appeared. So many souls to play with, so little time. Would you agree? What the hell? Just what is going on? I started to think Sonic was actually trying to talk to me through the game, but I was too scared to think that. I was brought back to the main menu, and this time the second file box had Knuckles' excuse me, in the TV screen. His red fur had darkened to a reddish gray. His dreadlocks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding, too. And he had a look of sadness on his face. I began to think that those are actual characters trapped on those TV screens on the save files. But I couldn't believe. Oh my fucking god. I didn't want to believe it. So I shut off the game and took a break. I took a nap, wish I hadn't, cause then I began to have the most disturbing nightmare. I was in pitch black darkness, though I was under the light given off by a lamp that hung high above my head. I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails nearby. They were saying stuff like, "Help us," and "Why did you give us to him?" and "Run away before he gets you too." Their cries died out, then heard Sonic laugh his laugh. It sounded a lot like the disturbing Kefka laugh. You're allowed to play with kid. You're a lot of fun to play with, kid. Just like your friend Kyle, though he didn't last long. I was scared and looking around the source of the voice. Wait, what the f... It won't be long until now you join him and all my other... Oh my god, I need to blow my nose. Won't be long now until you join him and all my other friends. I saw him walking walking toward me, flickering in and out in several directions. You can't run, kid. You're in my world now, just like the others. When he grabbed me, I saw his bleeding black and red-eyed grinning face. I woke up with a fright. After a couple hours, I decided to continue playing the game. I don't know why, but I had to know. I had to figure out why this was happening. So I turned to the computer, turned on the game, and selected Robotnik next. I still thought that was wacky playing as Robotnik, but anyway, the title appeared again, and this time it said dot dot dot, which I found really freaky. This time I was in some kind of hallway. Didn't didn't really look like it was from any of the classic Sonic games, though it had to be a pixelated style. The floor was shiny, checkered. The walls were dark grayish purple, with animated candlelights and a few dark bloodstains here and there. And there was a dark red curtain hanging above on the top part of the screen. Every 12 seconds or so, that red curtain sways very slowly. But whenever you're playing the game, you can barely see it move. The music was oddly pleasant. A piano playing, oh, excuse me again, a rather sad yet peaceful song. But I knew better. This was the song that played on Hail Act 1, only it wasn't on reverse. Robotnik didn't look entirely nervous like Tails or Knuckles did, but he did have a suspicious look on his face as if he feels just a bit paranoid. He did a little animation when I just left him standing. He turns his head left and then to the right, at least twice. And then he shrugs at me, as if he has no idea where he where he was or what was going on. Even though I was scared out of my mind about what was going to happen, I had Robotnik continue onward. He did his usual running animation, you know, when you've beaten him at the end of a classic Sonic game and you chase him. As we continued going through the hallway, then I stopped at a long flight of stairs leading downward. Now I was nervous. Even Robotnik seemed unsure of himself, though I would press down onward. As I led Robotnik down the stairs, I noticed that the walls have gotten darker and more reddish. The red torches are now an eerie blue. Then we landed onto the hallway. This one was longer than the last one, or at least it felt like it. And then we headed down another flight of stairs down. This one was much bigger. It took at least 1 full minute. And then I heard that horrid Kefka laugh again, and then the music slowly faded until it was quiet. As it did, the walls turned more dark red and the torches were a black flame now. When Robotnik landed onto the third hallway, I noticed he looked really creeped out, though he tried to hide it. I couldn't blame him. I was scared too. Suddenly, Sonic popped out in front of Robotnik the same way he did with Knuckles, and then red static. The red static lasted for about 15 seconds, and then it showed me the most unpleasant image. The image showed an image of Sonic standing in darkness, where you can only see his face, while his head and torso was faded into black. He looked so real. You could actually see the lines in his blue fur, as if you could actually feel the fur if you touched the screen. His face. Oh God, he had the most horrifying smile I had ever seen. And that was saying something considering what I saw at the image at the start of the game. His eyes were wide black and once again crying blood, and there were 2 small glowing red dots in those black eyes staring right at me, as if it was staring into my mind. His grin was wide and demonic. It literally stretched to the sides of his face, like a Cheshire cat had, except Sonic had fangs. Very sharp fangs. much like the werehog's teeth except more vicious looking, somewhat yellowish, and from the hook of it, he had stains of blood and small bits of flesh on his lips and fangs, as if he ate some animal. I stared at that gruesome image for a good 30 seconds, never taking my eyes off it. I felt as if he was actually looking at me, smiling at me. That face. It just took 10 seconds for it to etch. What the fuck is etch? To etch itself into my brain for good. Then the screen flickered with the red static again 3 times, and on the third time I heard the Kefka laugh, except it sounded more distorted, demonic even. It went back to the image again, except this time there was red text and it was messed up. But it was pretty much the most horrifying things I've looked at this since I had this game. I am God. it was it was when I read that message while looking at Sonic and when it hit me. I realized right there and then this Sonic was a monster, a pure evil, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmarish, demented monster. All of his victims, including Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik, and possibly Kyle, are just his little toys, and the game is the very gateway into his chaotic, nightmarish world, and the very hell his victims are trapped in. Suddenly, in an actual split second, I screamed as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly with his mouth wide open to an unnatural length, revealing nothing but literal spiraling abyss of pure darkness before the red static came again. This time it was much louder and distorted, so loud that it hurt my ears. I yelled and grabbed my ears as the red static screeched for a good 7 seconds, and then it stopped and showed nothing but a black screen. As I sat there, staring at the black screen, one last text came up. Ready for round 2, Tom? The Kafka laugh now sounding more clear as if Sonic was right behind me. Played again 3 times and I looked at it, the text in shock and confusion. Then I got booted back to the main menu. This time, again, the third save file had Robotnik in an image of the same tormented state as Tails and Knuckles. Robotnik's skin turned into dull gray. His mustache drooped and had blackened. His glasses broke and blood broke. Fuck, I can't read apparently. Actually, yes I can, but whatever. And blood is coming from them and had a more mere dead expression on on his face. I looked at give me a moment. I looked at Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik, and I cried a bit. I pitied them for the agony they were going through. They were forever trapped within the game, and forever tormented by that horrid hedgehog, and always will be. Then the computer shut itself off. I couldn't turn it back on no matter what I did. I sat there for maybe 25 seconds and horrified by what just happened. Sonic is the very embodiment of evil. He tortures people who play his game in more ways than one, and then when he gets bored, he drags you into the game. He literally drags you to hell, where he can play with you and always as his toy. I can't get the game out of my computer. I think it's stuck in there, but at least I managed to turn it back on now. I sat there for 25 seconds. I heard a voice right behind me, like a whisper. Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom. I turned around and saw where the voice came from, and what I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed staring right at me was a Sonic plushie, smiling with bloodstains under his eyes. And yeah, that was pretty much the end of the creepypasta. So, what do I think of the creepypasta? It's kind of cliche, to be honest. This was made like back in like 2011, so, and the creator of Sonic.Exe wasn't really a nice person, but yeah, whatever. And I don't know, the story is a little bit cliche, to just say the least. It just I guess apparently the author really knows, can really calculate time well, apparently. And like, it's, I don't know, it just this creepypasta just really likes to mention the Kafka laugh, which is like, I don't know which video game it is from, I literally forgot. But yeah, um if you if y'all enjoyed the creepypasta, good for you. I'm glad that you found that you found something you enjoy. But for me, it's not the best, to just being honest. But yeah. So this is pretty much the end of the video. And anyways, bye. Actually, happy Halloween, guys. So bye bye.